Good day and welcome to Government at Work. I'm your presenter, Adina Johnson. In the headlines, Premier Farrell presents $206.09 million budget and design-build contract for the port project to be awarded in September.
The Government Information Unit, GIU, is the communications arm of the Government of Montserrat. We serve as the official platform for news and information for and about the government's ministries and departments. We develop information products on government's policies, programs, projects, and activities, which are then channeled through various communication platforms. GIU, your official source for news and information on the Government of Montserrat.
On June 17, 2021, Montserrat's Premier and Minister of Finance, Honorable Joseph E. Farrell, presented the government's $206.09 million budget for the 2021-2022 financial year during the 2021 budget address. The government's budget presentation was delivered under the theme Beyond the New Normal, Recovery, Growth and Opportunity in the Age of COVID-19. Honorable Farrell acknowledged that COVID-19 will be a reality for the foreseeable future, noting that the lessons learned must be used to build our resilience to withstand similar global shocks in the future while advancing our development agenda. In his presentation, the Minister of Finance outlined the progress made on several promised transformation projects during the last fiscal year, adding that the progress has been nothing short of remarkable when you place it against the context of COVID-19. Looking ahead, the Minister of Finance noted that the Government of Montserrat's pursuit of the development priorities for 2021-2022 will ensure our recovery and lay the foundation that, in time, will secure Montserrat's sustained economic growth.
Overall economic activity for 2021 is expected to be robust, but this hinges on the pace of implementation of several public sector projects, as well as the progress of the pandemic and the resultant restrictions on travel. The forecast beyond 2021-2022 is also positive, but with a far greater degree of uncertainty. However, this government is committed to steering Montserrat effectively along the path to self-sustainability and leveraging our project success for greater investment.
In his presentation, the Premier and Minister of Finance outlined details of the estimated recurrent revenue and expenditures for the 2021-2022 fiscal period.
The total recurrent expenditure for 2021-22 is budgeted at EC 136.34 million. The capital expenditure for 2021-2022 is estimated to amount to EC 69.79 million. Therefore, Madam Speaker, the total budget allocation for the fiscal year 2021-2022 is EC 206.09 million.
The full budget statement by the Premier and Minister of Finance is available on the government website in the Publications section. The Government of Montserrat is hoping to award a design and build contract for the Montserrat Port Development Project by the end of September 2021. This was announced during a town hall meeting on June 29, 2021, organized to update residents on the project's draft environment and social impact assessment and to receive their feedback. The team leader at Stantec Consulting International, Harold Westerman, explained the project's timeline, indicating that once the contract is awarded, the contractor is expected to complete the project in 1 year and 6 months.
Some of the key bidding dates, so we're currently in the bidding process. This is a design build, so we are looking to select a contractor who will execute the final detailed design of the facility as well as construct it. So the bid documents were initially issued on January 18th. There was a virtual pre-bid meeting with the bidders on February 17th. The bids are now due to close on July 6th. So the bids are to be received by the government of Montserrat. I believe that's next Tuesday. The bids have to be open for 120 days. That's what we call the bid validity period. So anytime within those 120 days, the contractor holds their price. And we're expecting to award a contract based on review of the bids and a successful negotiation to award a contract to the successful contractor prior to the end of September of this year. The contractors then, once a contract is signed and they receive their notice to proceed, they have 18 months to design and build the facility. So during that 18 months, you may not see much activity on the initial, probably 3 or 4 months or up to 5 months, maybe even 6 months. Because they will be doing some additional geotechnical investigations and they will be doing their detailed design of the facility. And then once that work is near completed, they can start the construction. Now, that's to be seen exactly when within that 18 months they will start construction. There's some activities, for example, dredging they could start earlier, bluff stabilization. That's to be seen what the contractors submit for their detailed schedules when we receive their bids.
Team leader at Stantec Consulting International, Harold Westerman. The completion of the project will allow for the safe reception of cargo vessels, cruise ships, and ferries, which are currently restricted by rough seas, limited capacity for berthing, and insufficient water depths. The project will also allow for the improved container handling and will help meet the growing demands at the port. The UK government is providing £14.4 million in grant funding to the government of Montserrat for this project through the UK Infrastructure Fund, which is administered by the Caribbean Development Bank. The government of Montserrat is also providing £7 million in counterpart resources with financial support from the European Union. Individuals who are fully vaccinated are only required to quarantine for 5 days, a reduction from the previous 10-day quarantine period. This change took effect Sunday, June 20th under SRNO 32 of 2021. However, before being released from quarantine, the fully vaccinated individual will require to take a PCR or RNA COVID-19 test between 3 and 4 days after arrival. Once the test indicates that the individual is not infected with COVID-19, then he or she will be released from quarantine when the 5 days have elapsed. Persons who are not fully vaccinated are required to quarantine for 14 days. As relates to fully vaccinated non-resident technicians, once on Montserrat, a fully vaccinated non-resident technician is only required to take a PCR COVID-19 test or RNA COVID-19 test within 24 hours of entry into Montserrat. After 5 days, the fully vaccinated non-resident technician is allowed to be in public places other than his or her place of work. The new SRO has also introduced protocols for children. These protocols are as follows. A child over 12 years of age is required to take a PCR COVID-19 or RNA COVID-19 test no earlier than 5 days prior to entering Montserrat. A child under 18 years of age is not required to be tested for COVID-19 within 24 hours of arrival. A child under 18 years shall remain in quarantine for the same period as the adult who accompanied him or her to Montserrat. A child under 18 years of age is required to take a PCR or RNA test before the expiration of the self-quarantine on the same day as the adult who accompanied the child to Montserrat. A child under the age of 18 is not required to pay for a COVID-19 test. A person is considered fully vaccinated 14 days after receiving the second dose in a 2-dose COVID-19 vaccine series or 14 days after receiving 1 dose of a single dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. SRO 32 of 2021 will expire on July 18, 2021 at 5 a.m. All other regulations under the Principal Order SRNO 15 of 2021 remain in place. Premier and Minister of Finance, Honourable Joseph E. Farrell, has given his government's commitment to address the challenges being experienced by the Montserrat Social Security Fund. Mr. Farrell was speaking during a town hall meeting which he hosted on Thursday, July 1st, 2021, to allow for public discussion on the sustainability challenges being experienced by the fund. The Social Security Fund previously informed government of the challenges that it is experiencing, which would have serious impact on its ability to meet its obligations, as the fund is projected to deplete its reserves by 2025.
My administration is committed to do something. I know that, and in-house within my group, we have said some people leave the hard work, the hard and dirty work for us to do. But we are elected to make decisions. And we understand that by modifying or adjusting the rates and whatever they are, they will create a level of hardship for some people. But sometimes we have to encounter that hardship now so that we can exercise some joyful or some ease down the road. And I know that conditions, these things should have been challenged, should have been taken care of some years ago, but they weren't, and I'm not going back in the past. What I'm committed to do, my government and I, is to do something to the Social Security Fund. I have one regret. I'm not sure where we are, but I know when in 2010, 2011, thereabout, we had suggested that we gradually increase the pension age from 60 to 65. I'm not sure where we are right now. And if we haven't reached that stage, if it wasn't enshrined in legislation, then clearly it's something for us, because that should have been done. However, we are going to do something, but we want to hear from you, because you are the contributors to the fund. You know what you're making, you know what you can contribute, and decisions will be made. Government is also committed to speak to our funding partners. We have done that in January in a farm. They are aware, they have a copy of the actuarial report, so they know exactly what we're asking. We're asking FCDO to provide us with an annual contribution to the fund, and we have outlined to them, I've also written to the minister, outlining to him the urgency and the importance of that contribution.
During the town hall meeting, the fund's actuary, Derek Osborne, outlined the recommendations which were made to government a few years ago.
So at the end of the day, what this shows is that if we want to make meaningful change, it can only happen to one benefit. Adjusting sickness or maternity or injury or invalidity of survivors won't make a big difference. At the end of the day, we're going to have to find a way to reduce the long-term cost of age benefit. And the options presented here include eliminating the early pension. 5-6 years ago, we introduced early pension when the age was increased from 60 to 65, so that no one qualifies before 65. That's one option. Another one is to keep the early pension, but make it smaller. So essentially, we're going to increase the reduction factor at the beginning so that people get less for the rest of their life. Another one is to prevent people who continue to work beyond age 60, when they claim the benefit, to collect the pension. So I turn 60, I claim Social Security, I get my pension, but I keep working at the same or higher salary. It's nice if it's you, but it's very costly for the system. And so the idea is to eliminate pensions payable to people who keep working, especially for a certain amount. Another option which affects pensioners is don't give them increases. They haven't gotten one for a while, but from time to time, adjustments have been given to pensioners. And the final one presented here is increasing what will be 65 soon to 67. Today in Barbados, the normal pension age is already 67, and many countries around the world are moving to higher ages, such as 67 or even 70.
Social Security Fund Actuary Derek Osborne. Director of the Social Security Fund, Kenneth Scotland, and Chairman of the Board, Kenya Lee, were members of the panel. The town hall meeting was part of government's ongoing efforts to meet with key stakeholders on the issue and to receive input on the way forward. The Ministry of Health and Social Services has increased its testing capacity for infectious diseases and COVID-19. This has been done through commissioning a polymerase chain reaction PCR lab at the Glendon Hospital in St. John's on Wednesday, June 2nd, 2021. Speaking during the blessing ceremony to launch the open PCR testing system, Minister of Health Honorable Charles Kernan said the new facility goes beyond just testing for COVID-19. The PCR machine can test for other infectious diseases amongst other possibilities.
We welcome this facility, which goes beyond just testing for COVID-19. We are now able to test for a wide range of infectious disease, to include dengue fever, HIV, viral load, Zika, influenza, and tuberculosis, amongst others. The PCR machine is also appropriate for forensic testing procedures, tissue typing for organ transplantation, functional analysis of genes useful for research, detection of genetic diseases, prenatal genetic diagnosis, hereditary diseases, and DNA testing where an individual is matched with their close relatives.
However, currently the PCR lab is only being used for COVID-19 tests. The lab was funded by the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office FCDO, while technical support was provided by Public Health England (PHE). Consultant in Communicable Disease Control and PHE Program Lead, Dr. Ottilia Newton, stated that it was a priority to ensure that local testing for COVID-19 could be done.
When the outbreak started, when the epidemic started, the real concern was that all our EUCODs were unable to test locally. And this is no way you can face such a challenging public health disease like COVID without the ability to say this person has got it, this other person hasn't got it. So that was our priority, to make absolutely sure that you could test locally. This has been achieved, and as all the speakers have already said, this is now something which is here to stay and can be developed to further strengthen your capacity of testing locally. That's our aim, that's our objective, to make you stronger and stronger, more and more self-sufficient and able to provide the best care possible and the best prevention possible for your residents.
Consultant in Communicable Disease Control and Public Health England's Program Lead, Dr. Ottilia Newton. Senior medical technologist at the Glendon Hospital Laboratory, Kimona Daniel Bourne, explained that her team and the ministry had to work collectively to build a new laboratory from the ground up and have it fit and safe for use with all necessary specialized protocol and equipment. She noted that PCR testing is usually not an everyday technique carried out by medical technologists, especially within the medical laboratory setting in the region. Local COVID-19 testing using the closed PCR testing system commenced on August 31st, 2020. The blessing ceremony for the new PCR lab makes it possible for the ministry to expand its testing to include open PCR testing. With the closed PCR testing system, the extraction and amplification of the virus takes place in a cartridge using one sample at a time, while the open PCR testing system does not use a cartridge, but instead allows for the extraction and preparation to be done by the technologist and for the testing of multiple samples at a time. The Montserrat Arts Council and the Trade and Quality Infrastructure Division, Office of the Premier, have joined forces to host an event dubbed P.R.I.M.E, produced in Montserrat Expo. P.R.I.M.E is a designated marketplace for all things produced in Montserrat. It is the ideal platform whereby locally created goods and services are given the spotlight treatment. The spotlight treatment empowers businesses to market their products to a wider cross-section of the population and gain added exposure, fuel and expand revenue and sales opportunities, network with other entrepreneurs and businesses, build customer relations and engage with customers, and demonstrate the functionalities of their goods and/or services. The event organizers stated that over the last year, private sector entities have endured a tumultuous experience, having lost customers, reduced income streams, amongst many other challenges. This experience is also compounded by the restrictive travel environment, which isolates many of the local businesses from previously anticipated customer peaks throughout the year. It was out of these circumstances that P.R.I.M.E was birthed, with an expectation of providing a practical outlet for businesses to not only showcase their products, but a retail space open to Montserrat residents. The event will also be live streamed via social media and provides an even farther reach for business opportunities. P.R.I.M.E 2021 will be held during the Calabash Week of Activities and is scheduled for July 23rd and 24th, 2021. The event will be hosted at the Montserrat Cultural Center from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. Our final government news story is after this break. Fathers on Ireland were treated to a special event designed to offer support and encouragement to fathers. The event, titled Bring Your Dad and Come, was organized by the Montserrat Public Library on Saturday, July 19th. The aim of the event was to help fathers engage with their children, especially in the area of reading, and other activities. The main presenter was motivational speaker and life coach Mr. Eugene Scarrett, who spoke on the topic, Your Children, Your Legacy.
In truth and in fact, when we're looking after that children, in terms of the legacy, clothing, food, shelter is important. Is that important for us men? You have to have shelter, you have to have food, and you have to have clothing. The basic necessities, I'm giving you that. And so therefore, when we're looking towards that strategy, when we're looking forward in terms of that legacy, it means that that legacy will be established based on what we are putting in place.
Thank you for tuning in to Government at Work. Join us next month for our next government news package. I am Dina Johnson, and on behalf of the GIU Government at Work production team, thank you for watching.